Over the last 8 years, 220 million or 22 crore applications for government jobs were made in our country, out of which just 7,22,311 candidates ever got hired. And the statistics is limited just to central government jobs. This means for each of these jobs, 1 in every 300 person ever got hired. Where science is seen as a stream reserved for the toppers who are really good in their studies, followed by commerce. Then comes arts, which is thought to be completely useless, and any student who takes up arts is assumed to have no future at all, without thinking that professions like event manager, interior designer, animator, journalist, fashion designer, chef, filmmaker, graphic designer, sculptor, curator, digital content manager are all career outcomes which can be pursued after opting for the art streams. And now even if people knew what they wanted to pursue, if their career choice is an unconventional one, most of them don't even stand a chance to pursue it because we live in a society where we are taught that our parents are always right. Now be honest with me here, does this 2-hour career guidance class in the entire duration of their school life do any kind of justice to these students in choosing a career path which they would possibly be pursuing their entire lifetime? I can guarantee that most of you out there who have completed your grade 12 exams and is deciding on your higher studies would probably be looking forward to become an engineer, a doctor or an MBA graduate. Even when there are hundreds of other career options available, why is that 90% of us Indians prefer a handful of conventional courses? Although we live in a society where a degree in professional courses matter more than skills, resulting in producing high number of graduates with the very least employability rate, the biggest dreams of most parents is to make their children take up medicine, engineering or MBA. Okay, huge respect to those of you out there who see these professions as your passion. You are an exception here. But most students opt these courses to please their parents or conform to social norms, and not because of a genuine interest or an innate skill. See, I'm not here to argue with the point that every single parents want only the best for their kids. But let me ask you this. If all these parents were that good in making wise decisions in choosing the right career path for their children, we would have had only exceptionally smart kids who would have been so satisfied with their careers, which as you know is not the case. And now even if people knew what they wanted to pursue, if their career choice is an unconventional one, for instance, if they wanted to become a stand-up comedian, a photographer or a fashion designer, and if it does not fall within the spectrum of what their parents want them to be, most of them don't even stand a chance to pursue it because we live in a society where we are taught that our parents are always right. If you were to question the decisions that our parents make in our life, you suddenly become a disobedient kid who doesn't value his parents' decisions. Majority of the parents in India pose an authoritative figure towards their children where they practice strict parenting, holding their children accountable for their actions, keeping high expectations for them. And therefore they do not allow their children to voice their opinions or question the decisions that they make. It is high time we change this attitude and at the least part start to think from their shoes also. Because the amount of pressure children go through to meet these high standards, especially in their academics, is simply unbelievable. In India, statistics show that a student commits suicide every single hour. Now think about that. Parents make comparison between their children and others, failing to realize that all children are not born with the same brain. And studies have proven time and again that this kind of strict and unresponsive parenting style produces adverse outcomes in children, including behavioral problems, low self-esteem, self-control issues and mental health problems. And then how do you expect a kid brought up in such a background to strongly voice out his opinion and opt for what he really wants to become? Most students end up taking professional courses and chase government jobs to presumably be on the safer side. But in reality, as thousands of students pass out from the same handful of courses all over the country, the competition scene is so massive like nowhere else in the world. Let me give you a better insight of the harsh reality here. Over the last 8 years, 220 million or 22 crore applications for government jobs were made in our country, out of which just 7,22,311 candidates ever got hired. And the statistics is limited just to central government jobs. This means for each of these jobs, 1 in every 300 person ever got hired. Now isn't this proof enough for the reason behind the high unemployment rates in the country? Not only in the government sector, from my personal experience of being a civil engineering graduate, the Indian market is so oversaturated with engineers that fresh engineering graduates make such low wages, which is not even enough to support their own monthly expenditure, let alone repay the massive loans that a lot of them from middle class families take. It is said that in India, you first become an engineer and then you figure out what you do with your life. And nowadays, this saying has never been more true. Now, one of the main reasons students go after these 3 or 4 conventional careers is simply because they don't actually know much about the different career options available to them. In the 14 years of schooling given to a student, tell me how much effort is taken by the schools to help these students explore the different career options based on their interest. How much effort is put to create an understanding about the long-term prospects of present-day career paths in this rapidly changing world. The only known effort taken by the schools is by conducting a career guidance class towards the end of grade 12. Now be honest with me here, does this 2-hour career guidance class in the entire duration of their school life do any kind of justice to these students in choosing a career path which they would possibly be pursuing their entire lifetime? As a result, most of them start thinking about their career only when they reach grade 12 or after completing their grade 12 exams. Neither students nor parents are aware about the wide range of career options available to them, and moreover, schools do next to nothing to develop the interest and skill sets of individual students. See, our learning capacity and interest in any area of discipline peaks when we actually want to learn something versus when we have to. But our schools batch up students with different interests in one single room, shoving the exact same syllabus down every individual student's throat without even giving them an opportunity to explore the career options that they could pursue. All that our educational institutions ever care about is completing the syllabus on time, and the teaching is completely theory oriented, which has next to no application at all with our daily living. And these students don't really learn anything new because the maximum emphasis is put on memorizing, where students commit facts to their memory and give superficial exams that actually test nothing. There is no space for creative learning or thinking here. What these institutions fail to understand is that the end goal of education should always be to pave the way for a quality life by acquiring the necessary skill sets to navigate through this world. And most importantly, it should also be a measure of how satisfied we are with what we do. But here, if a student is not good enough in maths, physics and chemistry, he is thought to be less intelligent than his peers. I don't even understand the logic behind this nonsense. That is why it is said that everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. But not only does our educational system make fish climb trees, but also makes them climb down and do a 10-mile run, as motivational speaker Richard Williams once said. And this is so evident in the attitude people have towards the different streams chosen for high school. Here, a student's amount of intelligence is commonly measured based on the stream he chooses, where science is seen as a stream reserved for the toppers who are really good in their studies, followed by commerce. And then comes arts, which is thought to be completely useless, and any student who takes up arts is assumed to have no future at all, without thinking that professions like event manager, interior designer, animator, journalist, fashion designer, chef, filmmaker, graphic designer, sculptor, curator, digital content manager are all career outcomes which can be pursued after opting for the arts stream. All of this discrimination is done based on the marks you score in just 4 subjects, namely physics, chemistry, maths and biology, as if your life depends on it. The roots of this kind of biased attitude goes deep down to the social conditioning we are brought up in, where people are heavily discriminated based on the professions that they choose. I myself feel ashamed to tell all of you that I am part of a society which does not give a plumber and an engineer the same respect ever. No sir, people are treated completely different in my country based on their professions. So we could at least first start by realizing that every individual plays an equally important role in building the economy, and therefore every profession carries its own dignity and has to be respected equally. Next, what can be done here is, in this digital era where everything is available at our fingertips, rather than spending hours and hours in the social networking platforms where we take in unhealthy doses of toxic positivity, comparing the life that we live with others, where we are told to live better, eat better, train better, get better, tyrannizing ourselves on a daily basis, students can spend quality time researching more about hundreds of career options available out there that they could pursue which suits their taste. Next, parents could start to think a bit more from their children's perspective as to where their interest lies, and help them guide towards the right career path by researching more and being updated with the latest career trends which would cater to their individual capabilities. Also, most importantly, the educational institutions could improve their learning structure to inspire creative thinking by including practical oriented sessions with the theory classes, which would help develop the individual skill sets of students. And also, more awareness can be created among the students to keep them updated about the different career options available to them in the changing world from lower grades itself. Teachers could take the initiative to discuss about the genuine interests of individual students and support them even if it is an unconventional one, sharing the feedbacks received with their parents and its possibilities. And at a personal level, as I mentioned earlier, each one of us should try to support the career choices every individual makes. We could make a whole lot of difference here together. Let me conclude by reminding you all that life is not a race, but rather a fulfilling journey which has to be lived to its fullest. It's always better to live your own dreams than someone else's, even if that someone is your parent. Of course, your career options might not be the perfect one, and it's going to have its own setbacks. But putting a little belief in yourself would help you go a long way, because doing something you love is never going to feel like work. At least you would have better reasons to get out of bed every single day. And if you think your friends, family, or the network of people you connect with would find this useful, please share it with them. Also hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon for more useful content in the future. And let it serve as the first sign that you support unconventional careers like being a YouTuber. Thank you.